Hello, my name is Deirdre Studios and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking about eBay and my tips and tricks for navigating through it and trying to get the best deals that you can, because there's a lot of interesting stuff on there and there's a lot of great things that are extremely useful to me as a collector of trying to collect Doctor Who stuff, and that is what I'm going to focus specifically on while looking for stuff, but it can also apply to just about everything. So if you want to get a new towel rack, I don't know why I picked towel rack, but now you can. Okay, so the first thing that I have is that I always accept a little bit of damage or something like that, because you have natural damage, like just simple use equals damage. Don't expect your things to come through completely pristine, because that's how eBay sort of precedes things. So, you get things kind of secondhand because you are getting them cheaper than you would do if you bought them brand new sometimes. For example, my most recent and extremely lucky purchase was the Season 23 collection box set, which was in good condition, apart from the fact that on the back there was there was like a broken side. The paper was bent. And while that sits in my shelf, that's not really going to matter. And while that is, I suppose, a surface issue, to me that doesn't matter that much, because I can still watch the discs and I can still enjoy the box set. And general wear and tear, is things that happen to things when you buy them brand new. So the Season 14 box set came out on Monday, and it already has, like, the edges are slightly bent in, like things like those little imperfections. I always expect that kind of stuff, and don't be afraid to not get something if it is like slightly damaged, because that will mean, unless you are like some kind of pristine mint collector, because that will mean that you can get a nice reduction on stuff that way. I've also bought a Series 11 Steelbook for more than £20 cheaper, because it had a dent on the top of it. And I'm not talking like a big dent, like a small dent. Okay, so tip 1 is that you should always put anything that you're remotely interested in but actually willing to purchase into the watching tab. So if you press watch this item, then it means that you can sort of add that to like a gallery of items that you also want to check out and see, maybe purchase. But what comes good from this is, 1, you can keep an eye on it, and 2, hence the term watching, and you can receive any offers sort of from the seller if they have any for you. For example, they don't tend to be very big, but they're more incentive. So for example, you get like 9% off and it knocks off a £5 or something, just to get that little bit of a discount. The next thing that you can do is to save searches. So if you want to be the first person to get to something, because all those good deals go quickly. For example, for me, I was lucky with the Season 23 box set that I was the first person to see it, and that's because I have saved the searches of things that I'm really interested in. For example, Doctor Who DVDs, or maybe something more specific, such as Season 23, the collection, would be enough to have yourself notified by phone if something like that was to happen, if something was to come up, and it normally says like you have like 200 listings, so just go through quickly, maybe every day. But when it comes to eBay, make sure that you don't get ripped off, because sometimes you can look at something and go, okay, that's a bit expensive, and check for things to make sure that they're actually legit. For example, the 100% feedback on sellers is a good place to check. Seeing that they have 100% and they've got 400 positives, all of that are really good to allowing you to tell what is a reasonable thing to buy, because to a reasonable person to buy from, because otherwise you could give £40 to someone for a box set or whatever, and then for that not to arrive. But you have ways of cancelling orders, and you can kind of get refunds. At this point, I haven't had to go down that route, so I've been rather lucky in that respect. But I suppose that if something was to happen, then I'm kind of hopeful that you can get your money back at least. But anyway, yeah, back to ripping off. Always check your sold items, because if you look into searches, then you might see something that is, for example, £1,000. Well, don't buy that, because that's £1,000 for something that is being sold by other people for 50 quid. So don't do that, because otherwise you just sort of go, and don't click on the top option. That's the most irritating thing I think I've seen people do, is click on the top option and buy that one straight away. It's really frustrating. In fact, all of these things over here are things that I've bought myself from eBay in the last couple of weeks. The Season 10 Steelbook, which cost me 50 quid. Season 6 of Doctor Who on Blu-ray, which only cost me £6 for something that brand new would cost over 15. Also, you should check brand new to see if you're not getting ripped off in that respect as well. And Planet the Spiders at the back, I've got The Invasion of Time, I've got Season 23, and I've got the 11th series. Also, a word of warning is to not allow yourself to be drawn into the whole idea of eBay. Everything is filled with buzzwords on eBay, such as "you're winning," "oh no, I'm sorry you missed out on this item," and because you don't want to miss out, then you might, jump the gun and buy something for a ridiculous price instead of just being patient. And that's probably the best tip you can give someone when using eBay, and trying to use the whole bidding thing as well, is to be patient and always make sure that when a thing ends, you keep looking if you don't win it. It is the most frustrating thing when you lose something for a silly reason, such as somebody comes in on the last day. So also don't bid like the second you see it. Put it into your watch and then maybe wait a day or two to see if you're still willing to pay, because you get this kind of feeling of being let down, losing, if you don't follow that. Okay, so thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you give it a like. Subscribe if you're new. Please subscribe to the channel, because that would be great. And I'm trying to reach 200 as quickly as I can. I plan to do an entire sort of look at my collection of everything. This shelf, but I've also got a shelf up there that I've recently placed things up there, because that's a better way to put things than down there. I've done a bit of a move around of stuff, and it's meant that I really want to talk about my collection soon, so I'm going to do a whole collection video in a couple of weeks. But thank you very much for watching. Hopefully you did enjoy this video. If you did, make sure you give it a like, subscribe if you're new, and I shall see you soon.